One night I was standing guard at the office. I didn't have much to do, just to make sure no one got in, and once a week to clean the windows from the inside. The office had computers with various simple toys, and I didn't need anything else. I spent my nights in that office from Saturday to Sunday. It was always quiet, only the director, some manager, and me had the keys. One Saturday, I was playing for characters when suddenly something stirred from the side of the door. I walked over, looked through the peephole, no one. I thought that someone just passed by and went back to the game. But just as I was about to sit down in my chair, something stirred again, and I heard an indistinct male voice and a knock on the door. I decided it was the principal, put the key in. I turned it and looked through the peephole again, no one. I asked loudly, "Who's there?" There was no response. I turned the key back and immediately heard a woman's voice on the other side of the door, but the words were unintelligible. Then I loudly sent them all away and threatened to call the police. Although I was lying. There was no phone inside. I just knew there had to be a button to call the fire department somewhere. After a moment, the woman's voice went silent and I heard a quiet knocking on the window. I opened the blinds and stunned. No, I was speechless. It wasn't fear, but terror. My legs gave out and I sank to the floor. There was a man hanging from the bars of the window. Everything about him seemed unnatural. It looked like someone who had only seen people in movies and had made a costume to look like a person. I couldn't even tell if he was a man or a woman. As soon as he noticed me, he spoke, first in a woman's voice, then a man's, and then as if the voice came from different sources, with whispers and rustles. His facial expressions were absolutely inimitable. He moved all the muscles of his face in different directions. With his hands and feet he was moving on the glass, and he was moving himself upwards. I didn't know how he did it. Maybe he clamped the bars between his knees and climbed, but it seemed to me that he just floated in the air. He hung on the bars for a long time, maybe a minute, and I couldn't move, just sat on the floor and stared at him, paralyzed with terror. After a minute, everything suddenly went quiet, and he turned abruptly, stiffening for a few seconds before disappearing. I didn't even see him go. I only had the strength to close the blinds and run into a room with no door or windows in sight. There I sat down and cried, for the first time in a long time. Then the condition passed, but I was still shaking. I sat on the floor until 6 in the morning, frightened by every sound, until Artem, the shift worker, came in. I stared at him through the peephole for about 2 minutes, asking him to move away or say something. Eventually he came in, immediately giving me a slap on the wrist, to which I responded only with hysterical laughter. When I got home, my parents couldn't understand what had happened to me. I was pale, had circles under my eyes, and had lost 7 pounds in one night. Since then, I often sleep badly and have nightmares. I haven't told anyone I know about it. They would just laugh.